What's going on, guys?
What's the deal?
Can I have you two fellas introduce yourselves to the readers of Ambrosia for Heads?
What's up? I'm Apollo Brown. Nah, he's Apollo Brown. I'm Joell Ortiz.
Apollo Brown. True.
You guys got
you saying? You see all the comments and shit?
Yeah, but I'm
yeah, look like brothers.
Yeah.
You guys look like cousins. Like, nah, man. Come on. I'm not related to this.
That's when you light skin and round.
Yeah. I'm not round no more, though.
Nah, you said me oval.
No, I'm still round.
So you guys have a Mona Lisa album dropping this month, October 26th.
This week, Friday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Friday, yeah.
So thank you for talking to the good folks at Ambrosia for Heads.
Thank you for having us, man.
So you both have worked together before Mona Lisa. Can you tell me if you remember when you specifically crossed paths?
That was for me. It was the photo shoot or the video shoot for
Sky, right?
Yeah, a couple dollars with me and Sky Zoo.
Unless we did something before in the past that I don't remember.
No, I don't think so, man. I think I will remember. You know, I'm a fan, so But that was the first time. Obviously,
The Easy Truth album.
I'm familiar and all that good stuff, man. I mean, he is who he is, but
Knock it off.
yeah, he's a superstar, man.
I pulled up, this guy had shades on downstairs and people all over me. I'm like, knock it off, man.
Nah, man. Come on, man.
So Paulo, you've orchestrated these collaborative albums for really the last decade. And, they're very memorable to fans. They become a trademark within your career.
By accident, but yeah.
What do you mean?
Nah, I mean, it's just like nowadays, man, you can't, as a producer, man, there's a lot of different reasons, but it's harder these days to sell beats. So I got so many beats laying around. I'm like, yo, I need something to do with these beats. And so I'm like, yo, why not make albums with my favorite artists? Why not make albums with artists that I respect and that I'm a fan of? And instead of letting these beats just lay around, let's do something with them. And obviously I continue to make beats every day, but it's just I like holding down a whole project, man. I like a lot of producers, they put a beat on this album, put a beat on that album, this album, whatever. I like holding down a whole project from top to bottom. So it just kind of fell into my lap, that whole, this is what Apollo Brown's known for. It wasn't meant like that. It's just I like to make music, man, and continue to make music with cats like this.
Absolutely. So, at what point did it start to take shape that Joell would be the next, project between the both of you?
When he looked in his batch and saw some extra stuff laying around, a little insulted, just pass it off the leg.
That's not everything I gave them is brand new.
Man,
Everything we did is brand
Mona
new.
Lisa, a bunch of lay around stuff.
Nah, man, that's not even what it is, man. Anyway, sensitive guy over here, man. Like, nah, man. So everything we did is all brand new. It's like I made that shit on the spot. But I've always been a fan. Just like everybody. It's Hollywood over here.
Thank you,
I've
my
always
brother.
been a fan. It's just he's an amazing MC, man, and I think the marriage was there, man. It's a perfect marriage. It's one of those things that should have happened a long time ago, probably. But he was up in the commercial ranks, man, and couldn't reach him. So
It's funny.
finally got to reach him, reach out and say what up, man, and kind of throw the idea in his ear, man, and he was down for it.
So Joell, you've done, full-length projects. You've, worked with heat makers. You've done stuff with Illmind. You've done a whole host of different things over the years. How was the Mona Lisa experience different for you as an MC in terms of the beats you were getting and the chemistry between both of you?
You know what? It's the first project where I kind of let Apollo steer it musically. Like in my past projects, I've always had at least a little say. Like even when when I was in Human with Illmind, he had a lot of say, but I also had my input sonically, like that one, things of that nature. But Apollo was like, bro, I'm a fan. I'm passionate about this project, and I know I have the music that people would want to hear you on right about now. Like, just trust me. If you have never trusted anybody else, just trust me on this one. And I did for the first time in my career. So, he would send over some stuff that, one, would excite me, or two, I'd be like, but I promised them, and then, I ultimately ended up being wrong on the ones I was like, because they bring something out of me that I didn't think I was either not comfortable about talking about or didn't think was there. And good music does that, you know what I'm saying? So,
let's tell the fans what you was about.
It was Mona. You know what beat Mona Lisa itself?
Yeah.
Which he's like, what?
And you know what he didn't want to do? Timberland Up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was one of the last ones too. I was like, I don't know, and yeah, those are two of my favorites. So you were right. You were right. But it's the first time that I let a producer all the way steer the sonic aesthetics of an album.
So when did recording begin for this?
When was that? I don't remember, man.
June, right? I think
Was it June?
Was it probably around June? I mean, the writing he was sending music over, and I was
sending music over for probably about two months.
Yeah,
about 2 months.
Yeah,
and then we got in the studio, I guess, in June, for about a week.
Right before the summer.
About 6 days or something like that. We got in the studio and
recorded the album.
Yeah, it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was probably about a 3-month process, all in all, from start to finish.
Now, in the first minute of music, you address the elephant in the room, which is obviously what's happened to your group. So, I want to ask you, you were the most quiet member of Slaughterhouse since April. Now, is it...
Publicly.
That's what I mean. Great point. Is it your nature to address things over music, or are you just taking time and not playing in the social space with it?
A bit of both. I never been the guy to dive headfirst into anything that's surrounded with negativity. And I felt like a lot of that was like there was so much, back and forth with opinions, strong opinions. Everybody's their own man, so I'm not going to be the guy that's like, you should have did that and you could have did it this way or things of that nature. I can only account for myself. But it just seemed like something that was once so much fun for me, kind of is going out like Eli. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't want to take part in that. I'll choose to remember us running around the world rapping our asses off and let the universe work itself out. And who knows? You know what I mean? And wish everybody the best. But I owe it to the fans to tell them something. So I can tell them on my social media feeds, or I can tell them on the platform that they respect me most on music. Yeah. And I chose to do that to start this album because I knew that the first thing a lot of people would tune in for, regardless, because it's been the first music I released since then, would be, where do you stand? Mm-hmm. And I also left out some things that I feel like weren't ready to be spoken about as well, but I did let them at least know how I felt about things. You know what I mean? So, that was by design. That I'm sure Apollo, when he sequenced the album, was like, this needs to go out immediately. Like this needs to be a tone setter because it's the elephant.
Yeah. And that was honestly my question for you, Apollo. Is did the context of knowing what was happening with your partner in this album affect the kind of tracks you were making, or even down to sequencing, things like that? And not just with that.
Sequencing the album is like it's just a process for me. It's probably the longest process is making sure each song falls in its place. I like to take the people on a roller coaster ride. I'm real weird with it. I don't like song titles with the same letters starting or with next to each other. I don't like song titles with the word the. I don't like song titles with the same words next to. I'm real weird. I don't like the same kick next to another song with that same kick or whatever. It's just so it's a real long process when I'm sequencing an album. But before I do anything, I always try to determine the first song and the last song in the album, and then I work towards the middle. And reflection.
Start with the bread, and then you figure out how you make it.
Exactly.
I got you.
Reflection was like that just needed to start the album off. That song was just. It's an important song. It's an important song on the album. It's an important song, I think, for not only us making it, but the people listening. You know what I'm saying? He says some things that need to be addressed and just speaks his mind, and it's also relatable. Other people are going through the same things, and it's just a song that I think that sets the tone really well for the rest of the album. And then having Mona Lisa at the end takes the album out to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you gonna rub it in that I ain't really fuck with it. All right, go ahead.
Me too.
Takes the album out as
man.
I've always known.
But as far as like giving him the types of beats that I gave him, it wasn't really about what he's going through, you know, publicly, or what's on blogs or the internet, or what we talk about personally. For me, it was really a feeling. It was just a feeling, man. It was just, I like to make music personally that either takes you places, that you can either forget something or remember something too. And he makes relatable music like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it just, what I felt, yo, this is it right here. This is the one, or this is the one, or, yo, this needs to go on the album. As I was making music and sending it over, it was just a feeling, man. It wasn't,
good job, Bob.
You know, it wasn't anything specific. It was just a feeling.
Joell, you have a line on the album where you said, "My fans don't expect me on the charts." Do either of you ever feel that some of your fans specifically like want to hold you for themselves, or want to think of you in this fashion?
I think that's fair to say that I feel like fans in general, not just my fans or Apollo's fans, just fans, usually are afraid that commercial success comes with them leaving them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, leaving them behind and speaking to them anymore. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah.
I think that's the situation that goes on, where it's just like, hey, I mean, if this guy gets to the charts and he gets familiarized with popular music and their audience, and what, you know, maybe his music may be shaped or influenced by something totally different than it is right now. See, there's this big misconception that something happens when you get a hit record, like the room changes and the scene changes and the Illuminati steps in and goes, "Now here's what you're gonna talk about." But that's not what happens. It's just that some people handle success better than others. That's the bottom line. You know, like, you know, when you know, the Mega Million was 1.6 billion. If somebody would have hit that, there's no way in hell they can be the same again.
No, they would definitely change.
There's no way.
Change.
Yeah. Whoever's saying, yo, I would just lay low and
I'm just gonna keep.
I hear you. It's the same way as if, you know, an artist says, yo, man, I've been ripping and running the underground, and if I ever caught a number one, I'd still, it's tough. It's tough. It's very, very tough, because you get ripped and pulled in so many different directions, and hopefully you can stay strong enough to talk about what you want to talk about, and not the successes that surround you from having a number one. See, that's what happens when you get more money, you get more cars, you get more women, you get more popularity. The sessions look different. You understand? Life changes. So it's tough. If you're honest, what do you talk about when you're honest? Life, right? Mm-hmm. If your life changes, hey, you know, I don't have to train no more. Right. It's a new range. Yeah, you know, bitches aren't turning me down no more. I got head last night. You know, it's real. But, you know, the chart line I said was more so to speak to, see, my fans feel like if you're too good, you're not going up there. If you flip words and you're crafty and you're a wordsmith and you say some things that aren't right here on eye level and it takes some thought, you ain't going up there. But I'm here to tell them that that's not really true. Some great lyricists occupy the top tier. It's just timing. I hate to sound generic. It's universal timing. Nothing will ever happen before it's supposed to. You can, don't get me wrong, I'm not telling you don't bust your tail and do what you got to do to pursue your career. But if certain things just don't line up, they just will not. The trick is to not stop. You get what I'm saying? And stay true to what you are.
That's
right
there.
You got to stay true to what you do.
Yeah, you can't make music you don't like. I can't make music I don't like just because it's up here. You know what I'm saying? I can't alienate the fans that have been around me and supported me since day one to make some music that's on the radio because it's on the radio. Even though I don't like it, I'm gonna just get this bread real quick. I'm gonna get this bag. But I don't know. You got to stay true to you. You got to stay true to the music that you love.
I mean, the bottom line is like the radio is the radio, but headphones are headphones, right? You get what I'm saying? So as long as the people tune in to me, I'm fine with it. And I've learned that making music for myself has been the best way to make relatable music. Because because I'm like everybody else. I just do music. You get what I'm saying? So when I talk about my struggles, I know I'm talking to somebody else that's struggling. When I talk about my stripes and my things going on in my mind, I know I'm speaking to somebody else. I mean, it's therapeutic to me when I listen back, but it'll be therapeutic to somebody else. Or when I'm word flipping and I'm like, damn, I kind of caught that. I know somebody else will say that. Yeah. Do it for you first. Like if you're not happy with what you're doing, you can't fake the funk over music.
One of the recurring themes of this album, though, is how people that don't treat this art form as seriously as both of you are winning. You know, whether that's at radio or on the charts or whatever. I want to ask both of you, because you both have decorated careers, is there a record of yours, and this is a separate question or could pertain to the album, that you wish you could just, get that mainstream exposure just based on skill?
Whew, I've never been asked that question.
Like a record of mine?
Yeah. Like that you've produced,
That would have.
I think I think every album or every song I produce is right where it should be. I think everything, like you said, happens for a reason. It's all about timing. And so if it reached number 8 on the charts, if it reached number 30 on the charts, or if it reached 56 on the charts, like I think every album and every song that I've done is it's right where it should be. I mean, that's where I don't know. I can't really.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about that. I don't know if I have one particular song that I would want everybody to acknowledge and know as a hit record. Because if there was barbershop charts,
yeah.
I'd walk in like, hey, what's up, guys? Number 3 to get in. How's everything? Like, I'm good. I'm kind of cool, man. Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good where everything fell. You know what I'm saying? Everything falls right where it should, and I'm good with that, man. I'm
still taking care of our family.
Absolutely.
Doing what we love, and that's that's the gem. That's success.
I wake up in the morning and make beats. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't complain, and everything's right.
I write to beats and get on stages and move crowds. And then I come home and all my bills are paid and my family's happy, and I buy living room sets for my mom. Life is grand.
Absolutely.
So you guys have a cool rapport together. I mean, I say that only witnessing, it over the last hour. But for two guys who live in different states, really met in the last couple of years, it seems like you guys go back. Like you have that chemistry. So tell me about, the rapport between you and how it shaped the process of making this album.
I vibe well with good people, period. Like, that's a requirement of mine, really, to make music, man. That's just... I tell people this, and like my beats are like my kids, you know what I'm saying? And in order for a babysitter to watch my kids, I got to interview you first. I got to know who you are, what type of person you are. You come into my home and let's talk and see what type of person you are. That's for my kids. It's the same with my beats, man. It's like in order for me to work with you, I have to develop a rapport with you and just being a good person, man. He's just a good dude, man. He's a good dude. He's a family man. He's, a down to earth, just relatable guy, man. And he reminds me a lot of somebody in my family, man. It's just, he's a good dude. We laugh. We enjoy each other's company, man. It's just, he's generous. You know what I'm saying? It's just a good dude, man.
Thank you, my brother.
So
likewise.
That helps when you're making a record, man. That helps when you have a like-minded individual and you both have the same common goal in mind to make good music and to use your time wisely. You know what I'm saying? Using your time wisely, that's important, man. You're not bullshitting around. Work is work. Let's get it done. Boom. And let's play afterwards. It's just, that helps when you're making an album, man, when you're making a record.
We talked about the series of projects and why you've done them as almost out of necessity, but I have to give you a world of credit in that all of them sound different. The same way that Premier made J. Rue sound different than Group Home, different than Nas. Like your projects, all of these, and I think that's why fans respect them so much, are distinct. There's a signature. That's Apollo Brown, but there's very
they're different but the same. Like the same. Being that I'm the common denominator and my music has kind of I guess an Apollo Brown beat when you hear it. It's one of those things where you know a Preem beat when you hear it. You know an Alchemist beat right when you hear it. You know what I'm saying? And But obviously, they're different albums because they're different artists. They have different content. Each person has their own different identity. But I like to live by consistency. You know, even though they're all different albums, I like to know, and when I listen to them, that they do have a consistency to them. Each album by itself, every song has a consistency, and then each album has a consistency with each other. You know what I'm saying? So, to me, consistency leads to longevity in this industry. I don't make hits. Never made hits in my life. I make oatmeal. You know, I make the music that sticks to your ribs. When you eat it, man, you get full, and you're like, ooh. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of music I try to make. So, it helps when you have an artist that can throw a few berries and bananas in that oatmeal.
I'm just gonna get on there and talk my shit. Come in there with the sprinkles of fucking,
you know, put a little
crumbs
put a little cinnamon and some.
Take a scoop of peanut butter,
some something in that oatmeal, man. You know, but yeah. So,
Joell, your record My Block, you know, takes anyone who's never been to Cooper, you know, and it describes your upbringing. I love the line about taking the gum wrappers and making fronts out of them.
Come on now.
Man, Cooper's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. You know what I'm saying?
This guy here.
It is. A lot of dog walking. You know what I'm saying? A couple bagels with avocado. You know what I'm saying?
Brooklyn has
real
changed.
Nice, man. It's real nice.
That's good for the kids. Brooklyn has changed.
Real nice, yeah.
The Brooklyn I grew up in, though, is my block. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the Brooklyn I grew up. I hate to say it in a proud way because it's
little
very
scooters,
bad.
Scooters,
no
bikes.
Scooters. Police scooters chasing us up one ways, but but my block, man. The reason I do records like that is because I have no choice. That's my best way to describe it. Because people will be like, "Man, you ain't like that no more, though. You know, you ain't gotta be like that no more." But I'm like, there's a piece of my soul that will always be that. And if a beat comes on and music comes on and inspires me to talk about what I come from, I always will do that. Always. So, you know, putting the gum wrapper fronts on and, you know, going up to the roof with a young female back in the days and being like, that's me. That's what I come from. Me and Jay, you know, because it was the cheapest liquor, and when we all chipped in, we could afford it. And then just getting bombed and not know what, then fighting and then, you know, being like, nah, it's all good. Like, that's me. You know what I'm saying? Seeing struggle right up the block, like literally on the corner, like my mother, like after the minute it's dark, you can't go that way. That's me. That's my block. That's what shaped me. That's why I am the way I am, even in a different setting. Like, you understand? Like I sit around a whole bunch of people doing well, and we'll do a deal that, you know, everybody benefits from and everybody makes money, and some people go to strip club and and throw money. I could never in my life throw money.
Nah, not at all.
Because of what I come from. So strippers probably hate me if I'm in there. Like, I told them, don't book me for strip clubs. Because I cannot wrap my head around making money fly. I don't know what that means. Nope. Like, I know what eating beefaroni for a week means. You know what I'm saying? I know what, like, my mom being like, hey, that's for you or whatever. And I'm like, what are you going to eat? She's like, I ate, but I know she's lying. I know what that means. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's like, yo, man, you know, you're a humble dude. And, you know, that's not an act. Like, that's just, I'm fucking super thankful that shit switched up. A lot of friends in jail, a lot of friends dead. You know what I'm saying? And some stories that go to bed with me at night. Can't do nothing about them. You feel what I'm saying? So I need to make those kind of records to kind of like be like, you good. You good. Look at you now. Like, everything is cool, man. You know what I mean? You can get fronts if you want them. Not that you would. But you don't got to be Wrigley's anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But how does a place like that, how has it made you better as a competitive MC?
Oh, shit. We competed on the minute you woke up in the projects and you went outside and it was me. I always had the football. And I'm called, yo! And we come downstairs. En route to the football field, we're throwing it. Yo, you guard him. It's competitiveness immediately. All the way till when we get to your last one to the store is a rotten egg. Now you're racing. And you get in there. You're like, let's see who can guzzle the juice first. It's starting from 8 years old. You're like, Gotta be the best in every single thing. Then you go play basketball. Then you're playing. Then you're sitting there on the bench. Yo, who? Yo, nah, Keisha don't like you. Nah, Kim like me. Trust me. I'm telling you. You crazy? It's competitive nature all day long.
In my car.
It's in my car. We did. Hell yeah.
That's my car.
Yeah, exactly. Playing tag. Oh, this dude is the fastest. It's just it's always been there, and it's because we ain't have shit. That's the underlying truth. That's the other. Like, none of us had shit. So all the shit we were talking about being first, it was like finally feeling like winners. Because then we all went back home and shit was real again. You know what I'm saying? So outside really was like a parent. Like, you know, out like lumber yards that we fucking play tag in with stray dogs that would have bit our fucking ankle off. Those shits raised us, man. Like those fucking stories are everything. So it makes you fucking, you know, even as I'm talking about that shit, I'm looking back and thinking about certain people that, you know what I'm saying, I don't be around no more, or they're not around at all. And it's like, damn. That's where Come Home really came from. I'm just like, sheesh. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I scroll through the gram and see old friends I hung with. Like, it's like, damn, son, this dumb shit. It's like, yo, when you don't realize the value of it until it's not there anymore. You know what I'm saying? You don't realize how much that shit meant to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I could get a couple of those. So you know how you're like, yo, if there's any song that could occupy the charts, I wish there was moments that everybody got to see. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, one more time.
Wow.
One more time.
Paulo, you grew up in Detroit?
No, I grew up in Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids is west side of the state.
Okay.
So I came to Detroit. So I was in Grand Rapids till I was 17. Went to college. Went to Michigan State. Graduated from Michigan State in 03 and then moved to Detroit. I've been in Detroit now longer than I've lived in Grand Rapids. So I guess I'm an official Detroiter now. But
How far is that?
About 2 hours. 2 hours and 10
Cool
minutes.
little drive.
Yeah, so that's why I always wear a Sox hat too, because I grew up on the west side of the state,
Oh.
and you know, obviously we love Detroit and the Tigers, but we're really close to Chicago as well. So, you know, you
I
grow
thought you wore socks because like you always got them scale pictures on the ground with your socks.
There's got some shit to say, man. Nah, but growing up on the west side of the state, man, we were Sox fans too. So, you know, but came to Detroit in 03, been in Detroit ever since.
Do you think, or how do you think that just the climate of Michigan, which, you know, is cold, has, you know, a lot of it, and I don't want to generalize, you know, suffers, you know, economic hardship, and, you know, there's been a lot of just
absolutely, man.
changes. So how do you think that environment, be it Grand Rapids or Detroit, has shaped your sound, which often is so soulful and pained? And
my career took off in Detroit. I made a name for myself in Detroit. I didn't make a name for myself in Grand Rapids. I made a name for myself in Detroit. So I consider myself a Detroit producer. I represent Detroit to the fullest. And Detroit is just, it's a world of character, man. It's a city full of resilient people. No matter what goes on in the city, no matter if we're going through bankruptcy, it doesn't matter. You know, the collapse of everything. The people are still like, yo, I'm gonna make it, you know, and I think when you hear music that comes out of Detroit, not just mine, but all the amazing MCs and all the amazing producers that come out of Detroit, it's just one of those things where you can look out of your window and get inspiration just by seeing the lady walk by or seeing the kids across the street playing in the playground, or you know, the vacant building that's next door to yours. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, there's so much inspiration when you walk up and down the streets of Detroit. You have no excuse not to make good music, man. There's so much to talk about. There's so many things to say. There's so many experiences. Everybody has something on their plate, man, to give to the world, man, out of Detroit. It's crazy. So we're on our way back now. Things are starting to look up now. And
Got Matt Stafford.
yeah, so I don't know about the sports teams too much, man, but we're on our way up now, man. And it's just the music, man. To me, music out of Detroit has been some of the best music not even just hip hop, just music, period. I mean, it's the home of techno, obviously Motown. There's been a lot of great moments in music history that come out of Detroit. And everybody's checking for Detroit all around the world. I travel around the world a lot, and everybody's wondering what's going on in Detroit. What's going on with hip hop in Detroit? You know, who's the next to blow out of Detroit? What music's coming out this month out of Detroit? Everybody's always checking for Detroit, man, and it's just one of those hubs now. You know, New York used to be the hub. LA used to be the hub. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a hub no more. It's still a hub. You know, New York's still a hub. But I think
congratulations on finally making it to the playoffs.
I think.
Go ahead. You know what I mean?
I think Detroit, man, has a little bit more to say, man, and a little bit more to give to the music community, man. And I don't know. We just we're killing shit. We have been for the last 10, 15 years.
You mentioned how important titles are to you and sequencing and the process that goes into that. Grace of God is a song that I think lives up to its name. Like, the intricacies of that beat are phenomenal.
Appreciate it.
You know,
almost didn't have that beat on the album either, man. Almost switched. That was when we switched.
That's I told you that was one of my favorite beats. That's what my son's favorite beat. Like when I was playing beats, he was like, "Yo, I love that beat, Dad."
For a minute, I switched the beat, and I was making a different joint for it. It was a little bit harder.
It wasn't
a little bit more gritty joint. It was the one I played you over the phone.
That one was good. Yeah,
that was the one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you was gonna swap Grace of God.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah.
That might have been. You could have swapped. No, you can't swap nothing off the album.
Nah, I can't swap.
So the conversations were a lot like this, huh? Like,
yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like he would just be like, "Yo, you got a second? I want to play something for you." Go ahead and play. It's over the phone, so you ain't gonna really hear it. But then he play it. I'm like, "That shit hard though."
but you knew you liked that one immediately in the first.
Oh, Grace of God was one of my favorites right off the rip.
Oh, Grace of God.
That was the probably one of the easiest records to write. It sort of wrote itself.
Got DJ Los to lay the cuts on there.
Challenge,
Los is a beast, man. He did us a solid for that one.
Yeah.
And then it came out good. We shot a video for it. We shot a video for it a few weeks back.
Looking forward to that. You know, Paulo, you've remixed other people's joints. I think over the years you've had folks, remix yours. With this album, just hypothetically, if there was one producer and one song on this project that you would love to just go to and say, "Hey, I'd like to hear your take on it." Not that it's going to be better or worse, just a different spin. What jumps out at you?
I mean, I'll probably give Preem a go. I'm always pro Preem, so probably Preem. I don't know what song though. Just why not Timberland Up or something, man? Something that has a little bit more of a hard edge to it.
Tough.
Yeah. See what he did with it.
The readers of Ambrosia has loved that record.
Which one's that?
Timberland Up.
Timberland Up.
It just went nuts. And I want to ask, were both of you surprised when Crook was like, "Yo, I want the remix"? Like, I want.
Yo, he hit me out of nowhere. It was like, "Yeah, Crook about to get on this joint. I need you to extend it." I'm like, "What?" Like, all right. So I had to go to the studio and, I did it at my studio too. I had to extend it real quick just so he can write to it and record a little demo to it, and then took it to the studio and did it for real. But no, I was surprised and I was like, "Yo," but I was excited though. Because I was like, yeah, that's dope, man. And get a world a little something to talk about.
Now, Crook just called me. He's like, "Yeah, man, that Timberland Up shit, man. That shit is hard, G." I'm like, "That's what's up. Thank you, man." He like, "Damn, cuz, I might need to put something on there." I'm like, "Man, what you go ahead, do what you do, man." He's like, "You for real?" I said, "You gotta do your thing." He said, "Say no more." He turned that shit around in like a day or so. Yeah. Right after Apollo extended that shit, sent it out, he was on it.
Oh, he splashed on that joint.
He destroyed that shit.
You guys made it free for fans, which was tough. I think that's a nice gesture too. It was free download when it came out, the remix.
Yeah, no, that's you know what I'm saying? It was kind of to keep the original going as well. It was a week after we put the original out.
Yep.
And we was like, all right, well let's keep it going and with this remix. And it wasn't the traditional remix that I'm used to growing up in the 90s where you had a whole different beat, whole different everything, whatever. I guess you can call it a remix.
It's a G-mix.
It was an add-on. You know what I'm saying? It was one of them same beat, same everything, but we put Crook on the end, and like I said, he splashed on it, man, and everybody loved it. So yeah.
It felt good too to have both Crook and Royce on a song. It's been a while since like more than two of us were on a song. So I'm like, damn, like shit was remnants. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's my last question as it pertains to Slaughterhouse. But do you think, obviously we know Joe's status, but do you think there will ever be new Slaughterhouse music if you had to guess?
If I had to guess,
I think so.
yeah.
I think
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say yeah. Because the fans formed the group once. You know what I'm saying? This was not a plan of me, Royce, Crooks, or Joe's. The fans kind of formed the group. We put a song out called Slaughterhouse with all four of us on it, and that shit turned into what it turned into. So there's always room for that again, I'm sure. There's some differences and some behind the scenes stuff that probably needs to be ironed out as men. I don't. It's not gun beef. It's not like when I see you, you're dead. Never been that. Like, you know, we all grew up together. That's how I look at it. You know, we were all in different walks of our life, musically, and we all came together for the same like common denominator, bro. Like just to rap really good over beats and wow fans that appreciate lyricism and wordplay and things of that nature. And it's always been about that. With that said, we're solo artists first. You know what I mean? So that's why you still get music from us. Because, you know, it's not, hey man, the band broke up, so let's do solo shit. It's just like, okay, snap back to who you are. You get what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. But I'll tell you this, we all miss it. All the members miss it. M has just said he misses it too. You get what I'm saying? All parties involved know that it's something special. And we can't do anything individually without it even being mentioned anymore. That's when you know you caught a piece of something. Like you caught a moment. You know what I mean? So running away from that is idiotic to me because it's about the music. That's what it's always been about. You know, like it's about them fans that have tattoos. It's about the fucking kid in Dublin that fucking came up on stage and rhymed and was like, holy shit, I was just up there with Slaughterhouse. It's about that, you know, getting on magazine covers and doing, you know, so all the media outlets and people and running into like legends that are just like, you guys though, you guys, you know what I mean? Like, Roy said on I forgot what song it was though. I should remember it, but he said it's just an excuse for us to reunite at Coachella. Who knows? That's it.
Word.
all I know is if they make some new Slaughter shit, then I need to be on it. So
I mean, if you got some bullshit laying around again, man, just feel free to send some shit over, man. Sure, we can salvage something out of one or two of those.
I think the fans would like to see that. But, you know, Apollo, one of the things about you that I don't think people necessarily realize is you're real passionate, in addition to music, about cars, you know?
I am, yeah.
Where did that start for you?
I mean, my dad has always been a Corvette guy. You know, he's always had Corvettes, you know, growing up, with me growing up.
That must be in Detroit. Not to cut you off.
What?
I see Corvettes are like in Detroit, like that'd be the
a
move. Like, yo, you got a vet
You
move.
got a vet, you know what I'm saying? You know, gotta get that vet. You know?
That was the one.
I mean, that's one of the most iconic cars in history. Man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's you know,
I was just saying that because Royce got a vet and shit, and I remember how he felt when he got there. He was like, not really, because he's not that kind of guy, but I've seen it inside his soul.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just, you know, I'm a muscle car guy, and, you know, I have a 71 Chevelle in the garage, man, and it's something I'm very passionate about. All summer, man, I'm at car shows and cruises, and, you know, I'm out, you know, working on my car, man. And,
How was that like making a beat, working on your car? If at all.
I mean, you know, I can't even really compare it, man. It's a totally different passion, man. So it's really a totally different. I mean, you have an idea, you have a vision, and then you work towards it, man. And that's kind of what, you know, it is for the car. I guess it's kind of the same for the beat, man. You know, you have an idea, you have a vision, and not just the beat, but an album. You know, and you work towards it and creating that vision. It's plan A and plan A only, you know, type of situation. So, but yeah, man. I mean, music, cars, family, man. That's all I care about.
Great, man. I never was into cars. I
See.
started driving until I was like.
But see, I don't need it.
change.
Driving is like a necessity where I'm from. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? Like our city's spread out. If you want to go somewhere, the mall is way, miles away.
Right.
Here y'all don't.
Yeah,
Y'all got,
buses and shit.
y'all got everything like boom, boom, boom. Mass transits. Well, I wouldn't say mass transit. We have a bus system, but it don't go everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And it's not, something that's really dependable. So cars are a necessity, man. Everybody has to drive in Detroit.
You're in high school, y'all driving, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
You said you in your 20s?
Yeah, I was.
But y'all got
I bought my
trains,
first
man. Y'all
car
got
from a crackhead.
Y'all got mass transit.
Like,
y'all don't need cars.
I didn't even care about driving. It was just
Y'all
like she was
don't-
like,
y'all
"Yo, give me like
fucking came apart.
$80." So I was like, $80 for a car? Let me get
Yeah,
that.
you got nowhere to park, man. So
It was a Mercury Cougar.
wow.
Heard. And then no, it was a Sable.
Oh, even
It
worse.
was it was a
Even
Sable,
worse.
a purple Sable, $80.
It gets worse and worse.
And I drove that shit around. Crazy.
Wow.
What happened to it?
It was like all the way illegal, bro.
Yeah.
Like, just had her stuff in it. I don't know where she went. Drove it around for like 2 weeks and just parked, and that shit just kind of withered away.
So it might be sitting in Brooklyn somewhere right now.
It might have been turned into a cafe where they sell upper echelon coffee now. Like, you can sit in the
It's
cafe.
called Sabres. Yeah.
It's called Sables.
Avocado hats. Yeah, no, I said, but y'all be in them foreigns out here, man. See, where I'm from, we live and die by domestic, man, because our city works. We're home of the big three, man, and somebody in our family or multiple people in our families, that's how they make a living, working at one of the big three.
It's almost an insult to show up in.
Yeah.
Literally, like if you work at Chrysler, Ford, GM, if you drive a foreign, there's a parking lot for you, and there's a parking lot for you way over there.
That's probably why, though. Because of that. The big three is there. That's why it was, like, frowned upon.
Well, I mean,
We
that's
make
how we
cars.
make a living. That's how we make a living.
We make cars. Like,
There's neighborhoods that's how they made their, like, everyone worked at the plant. That was it. So if you didn't buy American, we wouldn't have jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it helped, our sustainability.
Our city had much more money than you guys, so we decided to go foreign because we had things that were working inside of our city, like mass transit and subway systems and things of that nature. I mean, we even just bought foreigns to drive around the block.
Mm-hmm.
So if Apollo Brown, if Apollo Brown were any car, like what would you be? What describes you? What matches?
Oh, 71 Chevelle.
The one
Period.
you got.
The one I have. Yeah, absolutely. It's my dream car.
Like an LS6, LS5.
No. LSA. I have an LS1 with an LSA supercharger on top.
Okay.
Yeah. No, LSA all day.
Joel, I know you're not a car guy, but I'll put you that. You got an answer for that question?
Optimus Prime.
Boom.
It's me, bro.
The truck. I like that.
That's me, Optimus Prime. Here we go. Bring it on.
So you got another great song on the album, Decisions, and it's about life's choices. It's one of the great, I think, concept songs that tend to find their ways onto your albums through all the MCs. But I want to ask both of you, be it, professionally or personally, what was the last hard decision you had to make?
Coming to this interview today. No, it's bullshit.
Last hard decision I had to make. That's a good one.
That is a good question.
Hard decision?
That's a good question.
I'll tell you a decision I made about last week. I've decided to not let anxiety get the best of me anymore. That's it. I made that decision. It's still a battle because anxiety is real. I don't know if people know about mental health and things like that. I'm not crazy or anything, but you know how you said the fans earlier, you're like, yo, I don't know if they let you go, and you had when you do what I do, people feel like you belong to them, and then sometimes that seeps into you, and you feel like you belong to them too, and then you start thinking about things way too much and not being a human enough, and I did that for a long time, and I decided that I'm gonna belong to me again. So that was a hard decision to make because it's a battle. You look, especially when it's a social media virtual world driven, by acceptance and validity and things of that nature. But I decided you know what, I'm gonna do whatever I feel like doing from here on out. And whoever likes it, more power to you. Whoever doesn't, I'm good.
Okay. Me? Oh.
Yeah, I mean his.
No, I mean I don't make a lot of. I make a lot of minuscule decisions, man. Decisions that don't really matter to anybody else, and obviously, I would consider myself the head of my household, and I make a lot of decisions for my family and you know, for my kids and stuff like that. So stuff that other people outside of my family or that see me, you know, on the outside looking in wouldn't really care about and wouldn't really. We just made a decision on what living room furniture we just ordered the other day. You know what I'm saying? Like stupid stuff like that, man. But as far as like big decisions that are life-changing decisions, man, probably the biggest decision that I made in most recent years would probably, you know, to ask my wife to marry me. You know what I'm saying?
Like
that's a huge decision, man. I've never asked a woman to marry me in my life. So
I hope my wife, my fiance don't see this. She'll be like, really? You ain't say shit about that shit? Thanks a lot.
I'm saying, like, you know, that's a huge decision, man. And it's you know, I knew she was the one from the start, and you know, to ask her to get on bended knee and ask her to marry me was, I knew my life would change for the better, you know, from that day forward. So that was probably my biggest, most recent or latest decision that I've made. But I mean, you know, one day you'll.
I mean, shouts to my lady, my beautiful fiance. Love you. Yeah, I'm recently engaged too.
But he didn't mention that though, because it don't matter.
I mean,
it don't matter.
He said the most recent.
But it don't matter to him though. You know what
that
I'm
was,
saying?
you know.
So the album ends with a title track, which is you know, you don't see that every day. And I know you said like bookending the album is very important to you.
Yeah.
And you know, this idea of the beauties and the flaws seems like one of the motifs of the record, even though we don't hear it till, you know, the end.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to, you know, ask both of you, like, how do you look at that expression and make sense of it as it applies to your own life?
I mean, that's what adds character to your life. That's what adds character to you, man. Is the flaws, man. It's nobody's perfect, you know. They say perfect imperfection or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, that's what makes you you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, his weird gray outfit might be, you know. No, I'm bullshitting, but no, it's I'm not gonna come at you, man. They be coming at me every day, man. They come at me every day, man. Yeah. No, I just think that flaws are a necessity, man. You're not gonna be perfect, and you need to embrace that.
Accept them.
You gotta embrace it. You gotta embrace the fact that there's gonna be flaws, and whether it's on the album, whether it's in your life, whether it's in your relationship, whatever, there's gonna be flaws. You can't go through this whole situation or life or whatever thinking that everything's gonna be perfect. You know, you're gonna be highly disappointed. So I think just embracing them, man, is important.
Yeah. I feel like everybody wants everything to just be whole, like complete. And the bottom line is, like, everything has space. You know, my body, I mean, it looks complete, but if you break it down on a molecular level, there's atoms, there's space between shit. That means there's room for mistakes, there's room for everything. Without those flaws, you wouldn't be able to appreciate, like, you wouldn't be able to take a step back. See, like, if you look at me like this, then you see all the little shit and little bacteria crawling on me, but when you take a step back, you go, oh shit, that's kind of ill, that's his hand. And that's how life is to me.